Today I'm going to talk about product management canvas. It's one of the most popular canvas on my blog, ddinmxx.com. It's been a very interesting tool for me to use. And I have, other tools that I have created, I have used this tool a lot in my interaction with startups whom I'm guiding, and also in my professional life. It's a the it, it again follows the philosophy of why a canvas. A canvas gives you a very good two-dimensional structure in which you can fill in information very crisp to the point, and kind of try to get a holistic picture of a product, of an idea, in case I'm using an idea canvas, or of an experiment if I'm using an experiment canvas. I have already covered idea canvas in one of my previous videos, and I am going to talk a lot about the product management canvas that I have been using. Again, what I'll do is I will use the web page that I have already um, used to blog about the canvas, talk more about it. And in this video, I'll add more narrative, add more experience, add more a tidbit of information on top of a bland web page, as I referred to it in the previous also. So let me share my screen. Give me a second. Yeah. So today, as I said, I will focus on the product management canvas. I have done the idea, canvas earlier. I may share the link of it in this video. So the idea behind product management canvas is to give new product managers who do not have a lot of experience, who may not have their own tools, their own checklist, their own experience, to give these product managers a way to capture the current snapshot of the product in a way which can easily be shared with various teams, so as to give a very clear picture of this is what we're trying to build, this is where we are in the process, and this is what why we are building it. So from that perspective, if you look at the flow of an idea to a product, and then all the feedbacks that come in for us to learn from the market, elevator pitch is a very popular technique, and have some canvas around it for those who are struggling with coming up with an elevator pitch. But the idea behind an elevator pitch is to get a very crisp understanding of articulation of what a product does. It can benefit from the idea canvas. And on top of it, once you have that pitch, as a product manager, as a business team, you can use product model canvas to experiment, record, and then hence communicate about the business model with everyone else. You got based on that model, you would come up with a very high level product strategy that in order to accomplish this business, these are the 2-3 products that I need to build. And these are the value that I expect from each of these products. And this is how the costing and the revenue generating expectations of that product get articulated. And for each product, then in order, how will we achieve in delivering that value? this product management canvas becomes very important, and this can become a very good input to the development team. If it's a software product, then the software development team who can then use the agile methodology, they would be analyzing it, looking at various epics, create a product backlog, prioritize various stories, breaking down those epics from the backlog, go live, learn from the market, bring those learning back in form of reprioritizing the backlog, or even going in editing and changing some basic aspects of product management, the entries in the product management canvas, rethink certain things, create a new instance of this is what we're going to work on, and then it flows down into a product that hits the market and learnings come back. And there's this whole circle kind of build, measure, learn cycle goes on. So if you look at the product management canvas, what it tries to do is to do a literal breadth first thinking around the product. The aim of this is not to be used as a backlog for the development team, but this is a product manager's tool to reiterate, to record in a very crisp manner the 360 of the product, and use that canvas to communicate asynchronously, offline, via broadcasting with all the teams that this is what we're trying to do. The sections that I suggest, and I have a suggested flow, but the sections include the idea behind it, and this is something that can come from the idea canvas, a very crisp articulation of what you're trying to achieve. What is the market that you're trying to address? And within that, what is the customer segment that you want to focus on in this instance? The business value that you expect this product to deliver. What are the key features, that differentiate this, that define this, or that are, so as to say, bread and butter features, they have to be there for this product to operate in the market, that it has to solve the problems for the customer segment. Important part, metrics. I'll talk a little more about metrics. We talk a lot about success metrics, but one of the things I like to talk about are failure metrics, and what those are, we'll come to that. The evangelism, visual identity, the go-to-market collaterals, key resources, risks. Some of these in the canvas take form of a checklist. So when you're thinking of building collaterals around visual identity, the go-to-market, the evangelism, what this canvas does is give you, have you thought of this? Have you thought of this? So it's a checklist, and you can check. Yes, we have something for this. We have something for this. It may be something very formal. It may be something informal, but the thinking of it has started. So if you look at it, this two-dimensional view of a product really captures the breadth of it, which is the main aim of this canvas. And it also acts as a guide for the product manager to ensure that they're considering everything. And as they are going about their job of building this product, they're not missing out something. What I've noticed is that the software development part, especially in the early days of the product, is so consuming, is so mind consuming, is so time consuming that many times a lot of product managers, they lose sight of some other aspects. And those aspects kind of get addressed much later in a hurry, not in the best manner they should be, and not in the most well thought of manner. And that's why these checklist items that will come soon are important. If you look at it, let's kind of go and dwell into the details. The idea that I've already mentioned should be very crisp and define the problem or the opportunity this product addresses. And the well thought of, the well articulated, well rounded, the articulation of the idea, the better. Because at some point, this canvas may become the go-to document, especially in enterprise or large teams, for variety of teams to go and refer to. So why of this becomes very important for everyone to understand, and hence the idea part becomes very important. The market size is actually a very interesting maths. The idea here is that how big is the market which you're addressing? The thought process here is that even if you're super successful, you're not going to, you may not address all of the opportunity, right? You may, let's say, address 1% of it. And if the market is really big and you're capturing 1% of it, then that 1% is sufficiently big for an investor to invest into, or for you to go and create some solution around, right? If the market size is very small, then you need to rethink that, are you attacking the right problem? Will solving that problem result in a meaningful business model? And you need to understand that in this market, if it's small, will the other players in that ecosystem, the possible partners, the possible competitors, will they create enough space for you to exist, or have they gobbled up most of it and leaving a very slight, a very small percentage for you to go into? So something to think about. And this is something very important to do diligently, because many times we are motivated by our ability to spot a problem, spot an opportunity, and our ability to address that. And the business thought process may not kick in time and say that, okay, if I do it, if I solve the problem, and if it gets adopted, is there sufficient opportunity for growth and to become a sustainable business? On the other side, customer segment, right? It's very important to understand who your customers are. Are there enterprises? Are they consumers? And within the consumers, what kind of consumers? Are they ultra high net individuals? Are they upper middle class? Are they bottom of the pyramid population that hasn't got the opportunities that other segments have? And you need to be very clear who this customer segment is, because it will help you in multiple ways, right? It will help you create a solution that's easy for that segment to adopt. It will help you identify set of people with whom you can go and do research, with whom you can try out early models, from where you could recruit some influencers who have very good network within that segment and can help you spread the word. So understanding that customer segment becomes very important. And ultimately, the business value, right? Many times we have heard the phrase product market fit, right? Does the product fit the market? Does the market need this kind of product? And is there a fitment, right? I may create the best product, but market doesn't care about it. Or the market may have a problem that needs to be solved, but my product doesn't really do that. And market may not care about my product. So this fitment is very important. On the other hand, this product organization fit is also a very interesting aspect that especially comes into picture when we are in an enterprise setting. We may think of a product that may solve a very good problem, may address it for a segment which we can access, but may not be a focus of the organization which we are part of. And in that scenario, at some point, your product is going to have a dissonance with the vision of the organization. And you may lose funding, you may lose interest of the execs. And thus, it's very important to understand that does the product that I'm envisioning, that I'm building, I'm skunk working, does it fit the organization that I'm part of that ultimately has to own this product? So that's a very important thought process, right? And business value, it's very important to understand the revenue model, the cost structures. So be aware of key regulatory and compliance requirements that you may have that you need to consider. Features, as I said, it's very important to write those key features that articulate the value prop, the USP of the product. So it's very apparent to everyone that this is why we will succeed. This is that extra we will bring, rather than make this section a backlog or a list of chores, a list of filling the space kind of list full of everything. Be very focused on calling out the features that act as a value prop, unique value prop for you. Success metric, everyone talks about it, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's say your success metric is that I will, in first, after the release of the first version, between the first version and second version, maybe I want to achieve a monthly active users of 1 million. Sounds fair? That's your success metric. That's what you want to achieve. The question to think about next is, what if I don't make it to 1 million? What if I make it to 0.9 million? We have 900K monthly active users. Does that mean we have failed? Not necessarily. I think for a lot, we'll say, yeah, we're still there, little bit behind, but we made it. 1 million users is a big deal. 900K is a big deal. We do little different, but we made it. Okay, then what if it was 100K? Do you think you have failed? What if it was 700K? What if it was 600K? What if it was 0.5 million? What would you think? Like maybe at 0.5 million, you may think that we need to work hard. We need to make some tweaks here and there. We need to maybe reconsider certain things. But we're still on track. This is still a good success. At 400K, 300K, 100K, at what point will you say that, this is not doing well, this is not working? At 100K, we cannot say that some tweaks are needed, some efficiencies need to be built in, some extra marketing needs to be done. Maybe at 100K, we say that we're getting something basic is wrong. And it's very important to call out that threshold, right? And that's where your failure metric is, that if I'm unable to go beyond 100K, that's my failure metric. That means something is drastically wrong in my identification of the market, my identification of the segment that I'm going to hit first, my identification of the unique value proposition that we have, because of which people will adopt us and have the faith that we'll solve their problem. There is something basic which is wrong, and I need to go back to the drawing board, look at basics, make a massive pivot, or even just wind up, right? So it's very important to have that lower threshold where you'll say that, wait, we cannot just blindly continue. We cannot just keep on investing in new features. We cannot just keep running, keep throwing money at it. We need to step back, pause, relook at everything, understand what is happening, what we're learning. So that threshold, right? And that's why I say that failure metric is probably at times, at least, especially in the early stages, more important than success metric. Right? So have a very good idea of the failure metric. To recap, think of success metric where you want to achieve, and failure metric is that lower threshold below which you will go and question everything, above which you may still think that you may decide to continue, and you may decide to do some tweaks here and there. You may decide to change a thing here or two there, but overall you get a feeling that you're on the right track and you need to do more hard work or do certain things better. That band is where you're operating it, but have that threshold below which you will go and question everything. Under evangelism, if you look at the product canvas that I have, a bunch of things people need to think about. We need to have a very clear elevator pitch that every team member should be able to use when they are in any conversation around the product. We need to have a very good content strategy, what's on the website, what's on our decks, what's on our social network descriptions, those kind of things. Terminology, and this terminology glossary becomes very important in enterprises. It's very important to have same terms meaning same thing in the context of this product. Otherwise, people will pick on certain aspect of the product, assign to it their own favorite term that they assign with that aspect and say, this is this, right? And then over a period of time, there will be dissonance in an enterprise setting. Make sure that every aspect, that there's a terminology, a glossary that goes with it. And when you use a term, what you mean it for and what others are going to use it for should match. Very important. SEO strategy, brand assets, social media presence, all these things, very important when we are talking about the product in a broadcast setting, right? Where we may not have an opportunity to hear the feedback, correct someone if we feel that there was a delta in what we wanted to say and what they understood. That communication feedback is not there in broadcast setting. Very important to have these evangelism collaterals ready, very simple and very clear for everyone to consume, done in a way that there's very less chance of confusion. So don't use jargons, complicated terms, so on and so forth. Visual identity, a lot of people do focus on this, icons, fave icon on the website, various logos for different kind of phones, mobiles, the website, logos that will show up in your collaterals. Very important to have those fonts, your templates for Word documents, slides, all those kind of things. Go-to-market is very important aspect. While in this canvas, we encourage people to think about go-to-market holistically by giving them a list. Have you thought of this? Have you thought of this? Have you thought of this? It's very important, right? Have you thought about the time to launch? Are you going to just launch it on some specific day, some festival, some event? So that should be very clear. So everyone is working towards that date. What would be your launch strategy? What kind of collaterals will you create for the broadcasting? How do you plan to sell it? What kind of collaterals will you give to the sales team? How will the product be delivered? Via app stores, via website, so many opportunities to deliver your product in a way that your customer segment would expect it, right? Positioning, promotional strategies, reaching out to some influencers, having them write about it, critique it, maybe say, call out certain flaws in it, totally okay. So all those things that you should be thinking about, there's a checklist of it, and we expect that as you build those collaterals, you keep on saying, yes, I have a user support documents, so a support team knows what to do when someone calls in. And if it's within an organization, or those who are adopting this product may need some training, very common in B2B scenarios, if those collaterals are ready, so the training teams can train people on the product. Key resources, again, this is very common to call out, but especially if you're inheriting this from the business model canvas, there is a whole section on key resources for the whole business model. And from that, you would inherit parts that are specific to this, but very important to understand, what are the key resources which you're relying on. One of the things, earlier I used to say that, licenses are important, and I have been hearing these stories over and over again, and that's why the example being called out explicitly is many times licenses don't get renewed on time, and it does lead to a lot of problems. And SSL licenses not being renewed on time has caused some big brands some embarrassment. So it's very important to understand that these are the resources, these are the license I need to track, these are the platforms and products that we use, so that it's very clear to you. And it can also help you in understanding the cost side of things. Very important to call out the risks that are involved here. So you are continuously reviewing them in this canvas. Everyone else who is looking at it is reviewing them, keeping them in the top of their mind so that they can execute on this, right? And finally, what I have done is I have on my blog, there is a PDF, a high resolution PDF that you can download, print, and then write on that printout various sections. I've also used this PDF to print it on A3 or A2 size paper, and I think I've tried it on A1 also, and then in a workshop setting, use stickies to put in things. So there is a collaboration around building the first version of the canvas. What I'll suggest is, in my blog, I've suggested some further reading, but hope you have a look at this canvas and find it useful. And if you do it, and if you're okay to share image of what your canvas filled up looked like, and with your permission, I'll share it here as an example, so that others who are visiting can look at examples and understand how different folks have used it. So this is about the product management canvas. Hopefully you will benefit from it. Do support in India or globally. If nothing else, acts as a way of encouragement to the team to create more tools and useful content. By team mostly as of now, it's been. So thanks for your time, and I'm hoping that this canvas is useful, and would love to hear your thoughts, feedbacks, and comments. And till the next canvas or the next video, bye folks.